Well, we are finishing up the month of April and National Letter Writing Month, so I thought it would be fun to actually make a card inspired by all the tulips that have been popping up in April. So we're going to make a card out of a 4x6 piece of watercolor paper instead of going out and trying to find watercolor paper cards, which are harder to find and oftentimes a bit more expensive. I realize we can make our own. So I hope you enjoyed this fun 15-minute project where we put all of our beautiful spring colors to use in this lovely, gorgeous pots of tulips. Happy spring, happy National Letter Writing Month, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Hi everyone, welcome back. It is the last week of April and the last week of National Write a Letter Month. So I realized in all of our creating art for National Letter Writing Month, we did those fun envelopes last week. I still have a couple that I'm going to use to send out mail this week. We haven't actually painted any actual card art. And you know, watercolor paper, if you buy it from cards, it's a little bit pricey and it's hard to find. So for those two reasons, especially the hard to find part, I don't usually go out of my way to buy watercolor cards to paint on. However, I realized I had this watercolor pad. It's 6 inches by 9 inches, and that folds together beautifully to make basically a 3 by 4.5 card, which would fit really nicely in either I think these are A6 envelopes, but they're just the smaller stationary envelopes that you can find, or your 5 by 7. So if you go to like Michael's or any sort of craft store, you can find all sorts of sizes of envelopes. Or if you're like me, this one's kind of big, but that's fine. Not a big deal. If you're like me, you have like random envelopes that I know I do. So I have a collection of them, and this would be a fun way to use them. And then also create a card. So again, I have just folded this together, and on the back, I went ahead, I signed my name. I'll probably color in my heart or like my, the heart there as well. But what I thought I would do would be to go ahead and create just a simple stationery and maybe give you some ideas for doing the same thing. It is still, tulips are everywhere. I'm going to bring this in a little bit closer. And they're kind of at the end of their season here in New York. And I have to say, I'm just going to tape everything down. I have never seen tulips like I've seen them this year. Where I'm from in California, we have tulips like in the stores, and there's some people grow them, but it's just not the flower that you see everywhere. And I did not realize it really is a wonderful flower, a prolific flower that people intentionally plant everywhere. The planters, like the tree planters, are just full of them, as I showed you in the preview before I started this painting session today in that intro video. So I thought what we'll do is let's go ahead and just paint some tulips. That's what I'm going to do. And I have them. I've just sketched out a pretty simple sketch. Some of my tulips are really open because since we're at the end of the season, they're kind of all doing that exploding thing, which is a little bit sad because I know they're coming to an end. I have a couple of butterflies here, and I also, my mom loves to plant flowers in pots. I can't even talk. I'm going to start with my green. I'm going to just grab a permanent green and start adding my tulip stalks here. So my mom loves putting flowers in flower pots, and so this card is going to be for her. I am not always super punctual with like event cards like birthdays and like Mother's Day is coming up, so I'm hoping that if I do this early, it's actually going to go out on time. Also, sometimes the pots, if you're painting flowers, it just gives those pots, the pots give the picture a nice grounding, a centering, if you will, from everything else to come out of. So your eye kind of goes up and around. So again, I'm going to go ahead and we're doing our 15-minute art project today, taking a few minutes during the busy week, whether it's in the morning or maybe during your lunchtime and you have a little bit of time just to paint. I'm going to be painting all this green first because like those flowers I showed you, I'm going to go ahead and add in some purple and pink, I think, and maybe even some yellow. We might just do all the colors today, but I want the green to set first because pink and green, just like red and green, they just turn into brown. So adding in those stalks. If you want to add a little bit of yellow into your stalks and stems, That'll be beautiful. Notice too with tulips, I was painting some tulips last week and they looked a little bit off. And I had just made their stems too thin. So make sure that the stalks of the tulips, they are a little bit thicker. They're not super thin. They're not like a wildflower. Always note paying attention to those characteristics, right? Those distinguishing features of our flowers really adds a sense of realness to them. And I'll put down the link if you haven't taken the portrait class of tulips. That one is so much fun. And we really go in depth in creating, I'm going to add just a little bit of the hooker's green to some of these. We go into depth of creating the details of the tulips and really studying them. So I'm going to go ahead too, is I am going to do some splatters. I don't want to soak this one. I don't think the time is going to allow for me to do that. So we're just going to do some splatters as the flowers are exploding everywhere, and so are our tulips. We're just going to embrace that. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick up some pink, and I am going to grab a couple of these places and just start adding in my pink. And I'll probably add in some purple as well to my pink. I'm going to make them really, really bold. I need to actually add a little bit more purple onto my palette. But we're going to do some really nice deep colors here. And then I'm going to add it. I think I'm going to do some yellow too. That would be fun. Just nice and bold. And you can see the Micron Pen really allows me to not have to worry about being really detailed, because I've done some of the detail with that Micron Pen already. And so now I'm almost just adding in my color and letting those colors dance together. I'm going to come over here, moving around this beautiful big flower. I'm not adding in color everywhere. I let some of that white just dance. And if you prefer, I hope I'm not getting my hair in. Sometimes I do. Let me make sure you can see this. Let me come in a little bit closer so you can really see. If you prefer red to pink, add in the red instead. In fact, I'll go ahead and do some red as well. I have some, it'll just be a potpourri of tulips. It's been interesting. Some people do have a potpourri of tulips. They're just all different colors. Most of the planners I see have one main color, but I've seen a handful that, you know, it's almost like someone couldn't make up their mind, and I get that. I love just an array of tulips. In one area, this was definitely planned, there was rows of tulips in a circle of different colors, and that's just really, really beautiful. It almost looks like, it reminded me of the entry to Disneyland. I haven't been there in a while. I imagine it's still the same, where the colors, those beautiful flowers, I think it's in, is it Mickey Mouse's face, I think, but it's all tulips. It's just beautiful. Okay, let's go ahead and add some yellow here. So we're just adding all the colors. I'm going to pick up some more yellow. I'm going to go ahead and do some yellow splatters around too. Put some yellow on my butterflies. I'm going to just dot them a little bit here, and I'll probably add in some red, maybe some purple. Maybe we'll do a little bit of purple on the butterflies. That would be fun. We also have to decide what colors. I'll put a little bit of purple on this guy and over here. What colors our planners are going to be? Why don't we do one of them purple, since that's a little bit more of a theme here. I don't have any brown in this painting, and I think I'm just going to leave the brown out. I don't think I'm going to add any brown or neutrals in this particular one. We're going to keep it very, very colorful, very, very bold. I'm going to add some extra color where I know the shadows would be falling. So this smaller pot is, I placed a little bit behind the bigger one that's out in front, so I want my shadows to hit that, just so. And now what I'm going to do as well is, let's go ahead and I'm going to do the other pot, and then we'll do the rest of the flowers. And this other pot, I think I am going to make it a, you know what, I think I'm going to make it a yellow. We'll just do a yellow pot. I don't know if there's actually too many yellow pots, but in our imaginary garden, we're going to do a yellow pot. And then what I'll do is I'm going to use a little bit of purple to create the shadows, since purple and yellow go together so well. So you can see too, I'm not too worried about getting everything in as far as saturating everywhere. I'm almost creating, I want almost a sense that maybe the sun's hitting it. There's some light playing around. I am going to pick up a little bit of purple on this brush, and I am going to just go underneath the areas where I know there would be some shadowing. Right down here on the bottom. And if your purple comes out too dark, just add some yellow over it. But what I really like about purple and yellow is, again, there's complementary colors. It just looks like a shadow. It doesn't look awkward. If it looks, again, too much purple, just add a little bit more yellow. And vice versa. If you were very hesitant, I was pretty hesitant with my purple, just add a little bit more. I am going to go ahead down here and I'll use some of that shadowing down here. Add a little bit more yellow. And then let's go ahead. I'm going to switch to a bit of a smaller brush. I want to get in to some of those flowers, and I don't want to make a mess because with our 15-minute paintings, we're not letting them dry in between. The idea is we're just doing we want to create a little painting. We're going to do some splatters. They're going to get on the pots, and that's okay. We're trying to do a little painting in one setting. So it's going to be a little bit looser. There's going to be some messiness. I'm going to do some pink over here too. The smaller the brush you use, the harder it is sometimes to get those splatters to cooperate. I'm going to pick up the pink. I'm going to come over here and just put in a nice bold fuchsia. And I got some red in there too, so that one looks real bold, doesn't it? I've got one more tulip back here, and I want to take that bold color and come over and grab one of these flowers, just so the flowers kind of look like they have a friend, so to speak. I'm going to come with the purple one here, add a little bit more purple, and spreading out the similar colors helps the painting really come together nicely. Now, I didn't do any variegated colors, but I could. I'll just add like a little bit of red. Some of those tulips were very fancy that I saw this morning. I think I'm going to take a yellow, and the one that's hiding back here, I'm going to make this a yellow tulip. The little splatter there is going to change the color, but that's fine. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow. I haven't even checked the time. Let's add some green to our butterfly high in the sky. I'm going to put just a dot of green here. You could do orange, whatever color you'd like. Okay, I'm going to do just a few more splatters right here. I'm going to pick up some more green, add in a little bit more depth of color. And the fun thing is with this as well, we don't have too much space to write, but you could, if this is an occasion, if it's a birthday or like a Mother's Day card or congratulations, you could write something up on top or even on the side. But this looks really, really cute. It doesn't look, it's not fun. Okay, I'm gonna come back out, and now we've had like a cloudy day and then it's like a sunny day. So I'll back off with that, and I think that is very cute. It's our cute little card. And what I'll do now too is I'm just gonna take off my tape before it even has a lot of time to dry. We have that nice clean border, and the other thing with the splatters is that if I had colored it in solidly, it would really have, and some of the paint like squeaked underneath like it sometimes does. It might be a little bit of a ragged edge, but with the splatters, it actually looks really nice. It looks super cute, and it's just a really fun greeting card. What you might want to do, see down here that there's no shadowing because of where, I'll come back in just really quick so you can see that. I'm going to add just a bit of shadowing. I'm going to pick up my purple, and I'll go right under here. You could mix your colors on the palette. I'm just going to go ahead and add my yellow. I'm going to pick up some yellow and then come down and just create a bit of a shadow and right on the horizon line. Again, that's just going to center it a little bit, and it makes it look like we don't want our pots to look like they're floating in midair. So I'm going to add a little bit more purple down here and put that right around the edges. And I'm going to take that same color and right up here where my pot is, where the shadows would be hitting it. Just a little bit right there. and even here. I might pick up some darker purple for this pot. Down here on the edge. Okay, there we go. We've got some shape, we've got some dimension. It looks great. I'm gonna back out one more time. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. Thank you for painting with me. Send out a card or two before the end of the month. Happy National Letter Writing Month, and I look forward to painting with you.